Good, Kenny. Miranda, over here.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations on the win, back in the win column. I guess, what are the emotions after a victory like that to kick off this card?
They're great. Every time I get a finish, it's high emotions, especially with my dad in my corner again. You guys see, every time I get a win, it's kind of our deal. He rides me around the cage like that. So I'm glad not only to get a win, but to be back on such a short notice, take a fight on short notice, and win in a dominant fashion. Last time, some health things came into play in the second round, but no excuses. Jasmine did a great job, and I was looking to get back in there and show that that's not me, who you guys saw last fight.
You did mention this was a short notice fight, so how much time did you have to prepare, or was there even a game plan? Was there enough time to put together something for
There was
Pricilla?
time to go over a game plan. To be honest, Cachoeira is a fairly simplistic opponent as far as what I had to watch out for. Knew she was a heavy hitter, knew that she had good hands, and knew that she could be a bully in the cage. And went in there cautious, knowing that she's also had some times that were questionable in fights. Protect my eyes, protect everything. Hands got stuck where they shouldn't have multiple times, which was kind of frustrating, but I wanted to soften her up, make sure I didn't have to worry about anything by the time I went for a submission.
I was going to ask about that later on, but in that third round, it seems like the most egregious one when she was kind of holding your top when you were coming down with elbows. Do you think that should have been a point deduction or something? Because it looked like the ref just moved her hand and then you guys continued.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you got to say it's a point, I mean, she stuck her fingers up straight the entire fight pretty much, and there was no chance that she was just trying to push me off. There was no flat hands. I had warned the ref beforehand, and to be honest, I think he did about good of a job as I've seen any ref do. I said, listen, I don't want poked in the eyes in this fight. That's my main priority, and he was like, all right, we'll watch out for it. I hope that the whole world didn't see me, but they probably did, and I guess that's part of the risk of fighting, but it was very frustrating, and it made me go in there that much angrier every round.
I have to ask about your entrance with the song and the
Yeah.
aviators and everything. What was the thought going to that? Was it just a nod to your last name, Maverick?
Yeah, exactly. My last name's Maverick. I think it's one of the best names in the sport, I mean, Michael Chiesa is fighting tonight, and he has the nickname, but he doesn't have the real name. So I go in there repping that every time. Top Gun's kind of the perfect entrance with it, and I love the movie, I love the song, I love America, so it all goes together.
And final one for me, short notice fight, but when do you want to get back in there? Do you want to keep this activity, or would you like a full camp? And
Absolutely, I love money. I love money, and activity equals money, right? I want to get in there at least one more time by the end of the year, but I would like to spend holidays with my family. So if I can get in there early November, even October, I stay in shape, I stay ready, I keep my weight low, as you guys can see by the short notices I've had in the UFC, and I'm ready to do the same thing. If they offer me something in 2 weeks, I'm there.
If you could kind of walk me through that finish, you took the top mount, and I thought at one point you were going to drop some elbows, maybe get a little vicious, but you end up going the armbar. Was that something that you kind of assumed that if it presented itself, you were just going to take that and get the quick out?
Well, I was finally off the cage, It's a little bit more dangerous to go for a submission when they have something near them that they can posture up against. I had softened her up plenty, thrown a lot of elbows, thrown a lot of punches, and she kept just sticking those hands up there, pure for the taking for an armbar. And I just wanted to wait until I had her in enough pain and stuff that she wouldn't fight it off as much as she would have the first or second round. I couldn't even tell you what round it was hardly at this point. There's so much adrenaline going on, but I knew once I had that armbar, she wasn't getting out without a broken arm. And I think she pretty much tapped right at the beginning, then she held on again, then she tapped again, and I just waited for the ref to grab a hold of me before I let go of it.
Awesome. Congrats on the victory.
Thank you very much.
Miranda,
Yes.
you had some huge pops from the second and third round, specifically the takedowns. I'm just curious, how did you like fighting in Utah?
Oh, it was great. I was supposed to fight in Utah last year, and it got canceled late on Thursday night against Shanna Young because of a weight issue. And so I was really happy to come in here and put it in front of fans, finally get to show up and show out instead of just sitting in the crowd watching.
I got to ask you, based off of that as well, I'm a Salt Lake City reporter. Did the elevation at all affect you during this fight, or did you not feel that at all?
Not at all, but I'm from Denver. I've been training in Denver now for 2 years. I think it's a big advantage coming in here. I knew she's from the Miami area or MMA Masters, wherever that is in Florida, and I knew that was going to be one advantage, but I was going in there expecting a 15-minute war regardless, and I was ready. Thanks.
All right, back here, Miranda.
Yes, sir.
Quick question. With you coming back so soon, was there any concern with the eyes? I knew you were taking eye drops before the fight and all that. Was there any concern?
Concerns. There's always concerns, especially with this opponent. My dad was like, I'm going to jump over the cage if she pokes you in the eye. And, the Jillian Robertson fight, it was very intentional. She tried to literally gouge her eyes out. So we were very cautious. Like I said, we sat back in the back, told the ref, please watch out for this. I've had retina surgeries in the past. I don't really want to go blind in this sport, although I love it and have given it my all every time. time. I don't really want them to take my eyes from me in the process. So I was being careful, and like I said, that was part of the reason I waited for the armbar and everything else. Every time she'd stick her arms up, tried to get them out of the way and pull some damage.
Right. Change gears a little bit here. The loss to Jasmine, you got a lot of negative, like death threats and stuff with that on social media. Has that changed the way you interact with fans?
No, not at all. It's been happening since the beginning. Last fight was worse than it's ever been, I'd say, because of the money people bet on it. If somebody bets, it's not my responsibility how much money you win or lose. It's not like I'm getting a cut of it, or else maybe I'd take a little bit of the empathy with it. But yeah, there was a lot of hate last time, and I'm sure there will be the same people turning around and saying they love me today. It's an unforgiving sport. I'm prepared to have that every time I step in the cage, and it's happened since the beginning as an amateur. If you're going to be in any kind of professional aspect, a spotlight of any sort, you're going to get that hate. I just always hope that it doesn't actually come to fruition, and keep myself protected at all times.
Gotcha. Last one for me. Big arena, crowd, the pops and everything. Do you think maybe, going in there with the performance you had, maybe you inspired little sister to stay in MMA?
And maybe, she had a lot of thought going into it. My little sister's still a great training partner, no doubt. Maybe she'll come back eventually. She's only 19 years old. But I'm not one of those people that's going to be telling her to do it. If she doesn't want to do it with her life, she has so much potential to do other things. I do as well. I hate it to say when a lot of people only have fighting as their future. And she doesn't, and I don't. And if she doesn't have it all going into this sport, just like anyone, if you aren't putting everything into this sport every single day, you're probably not going to make it to the top. And this is not a sport that's fun getting to the top. You got to be poor, you got to put in hours, you can't spend time with family. You kind of just got to go out on your own, be selfish, be uncaring about anything else other than putting your life on the line every day.
And earlier we were talking about nicknames. I know this is for sure my last one, but any thought to changing your nickname to Top Gun?
There's been thought. I have the thought of trademarks and all that can come into play and question, and so I don't want to get in trouble with that aspect. But also, I believe in the whole somebody else gives you your nickname. And even though Top Gun's a pretty cool nickname, I think Maverick alone's good enough. It started out as Miranda the Maverick, and people didn't know what Maverick meant, which that's unfortunate. Go look it up. All right, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. I'm glad that I got to be in Salt Lake.